Solo traveling is an empowering experience. It is an experience of a lifetime. At the same time, we need to ensure that we are safe in order for the trip to go smoothly as possible. So I am going to talk about the top tips to safety while solo traveling around the world. Okay, so stay tuned. This is Nats. Right, so one of them can be, it's important to research your destination. You should always research your destination that you are going to travel to, okay? Because you look at the do's and the don'ts of the specific country that you are visiting, because every country has its own rules. So you need to ensure that you will be following that rule of the country, okay, in order for your trip to go smoothly, especially if you will travel alone. You don't want to put yourself in any sort of danger, okay? So research as in the areas as well that you will be staying at as well. So you should research you can type like top areas, safe areas to stay for solo travelers, and it usually gives you a nice description, a nice list of safe areas when you type it on Google, okay? And another thing to link with that is ensure the accommodation as well. Regarding the accommodation, you can always read the hotel reviews. So say, for example, I use booking.com. I always use the same site for booking my hotel accommodation, and I gain points. Not points, but sometimes I get upgrades, free breakfast, and sometimes I get discounts as well. And at the same time, I am reading all the reviews. So even if it says 5-star, read the reviews, okay? Because even if you enter a 5-star place, it may not be as good as a 3-star, for example, okay? So very, very important. Read the reviews, look at the location, read about the location. Is it in a quiet road, etc.? And it will tell you, okay? Let me give you an example, okay? When I was in Sri Lanka, when I traveled to Sri Lanka like 3 years ago, roughly around 3 years ago, I had traveled to a city called Kandy, okay? And I arrived at my hotel because I was very excited. I was just thinking about the nature because Kandy is full of nature. It's a nice naturey place. And I was thinking, okay, this specific hotel, you're able to see the elephants, okay, the next day. I was just thinking about that. I didn't think to read properly the reviews about the room itself, okay? So when I arrived, to my surprise, there were bugs, okay? When I first arrived in the reception, I saw like one bug, and I was thinking, this isn't a good sign. And I was thinking, okay, I am in an Asian country, you gotta expect bugs, right? But I didn't expect it in the room. Listen to this. After I had checked in, I entered the room, and then I saw like a lizard, like a gecko, let's say, crawling up the wall. And then I said, no way, absolutely no way, because I had just entered the room. Imagine, I was thinking, what am I going to find after staying a few hours in the room? So I went back to the reception and I said to them, I'd like to change rooms, okay? So I changed rooms, and to my surprise, there was a spider, like 1 or 2 spiders crawling up the wall. And then I saw a gecko on the other side crawling up the wall. I said, get me out of here, get me out of here. That's all I was thinking, you know, if you're British, I'm a celebrity, get me out of here. I'm a traveler, get me out of here. So anyway, I just wanted to get out of that hotel, okay, as fast as I can, right? So anyway, and then they tried to tell me, we'll give you the best room. We'll show you the room. Look, there's a nice suite on the top floor. Would you like to see that? I said, no, just give me, please. I would like my discount. I am tired. And it was the evening as well. So I said, look, I am tired. I'm not going to waste your time. I'm not going to waste my time seeing this other room as well. I said, no, I'd like a refund, please. So they straight away gave me a refund because they were scared in case I was going to give them a bad review online. Okay. So anyway, let's get to the point of very important to read the reviews. Okay. Very, very, very important. And then I traveled like an hour from Kandy to another city. Anyway, so, yeah, and another talking of, and also you should try to arrive in the daytime and not at night, Okay, so that's one of the safety tips as well that I advise you to do. Because again, from my experience, Sri Lanka, yet again, it can happen in any country. Like it's happened in other countries where I've arrived in the evening. But this, when I had arrived in Sri Lanka in Colombo city, it was, I think, around 10 o'clock, right? It was around 10 o'clock. And then I got off the tuk-tuk. No, I got either a tuk-tuk or a taxi from the airport. Anyway, and when I arrived, it seemed like the place was shut, okay? And it was on a quiet road, okay? That's a mistake I did. It was on a quiet road and the place looked shut. It was like 10 o'clock at night. And then I was thinking, am I in the right area? Am I not in the right area? So anyway, because the location had took me there, the location, Google had stated that this is the hotel. Right. And then I thought, okay, what am I going to do? So I tried knocking on the window to look for security. And luckily there was security. He came out and I said, I'm due to check in the hotel. And he said, yeah, they're asleep. And then he said that the reception is not 24 hours. So anyway, he called somebody, he woke them up to come out and let me in. And then I checked in and went to my room. But my advice to you, number one, I was in a quiet street. So I was thinking, what am I going to do if no one opens the door? What am I going to do? Just have to book another taxi, and it's not good at nighttime to do that as a woman traveling alone, right? And my advice, arrive in the day and make sure that, like, if you prefer, if you do arrive in the evening, make sure it's a 24-hour desk, because there are a lot of hotels, especially those that are linked to Airbnb, they don't usually have a 24-hour desk. So you should research that as well to keep yourself safe. Okay, you got to research that. So my advice, do not arrive in the night to a country you have never visited before. Okay. And make sure they have a 24-hour desk if you are going to arrive in the evening or in the night. Okay, so that's another thing. Okay, so so far we have make sure you research the destination. Okay, make sure you are arriving in the daytime, preferably, and not in the night, or by the evening. Let's say by like 6-7 p.m. Make sure that you're researching the reviews. Check the reviews before you arrive, because you don't want to put yourself in a situation where you're not going to be comfortable. Okay, I like to be comfortable. Everybody has their own preference. Okay, and another advice is you got to try and blend in with the locals as well, to not stand yourself out, if that makes sense. So try to not dress too, like, I don't know, like too like, try not to dress that doesn't link with the culture, if that makes sense. Try to blend in, to not grab a lot of attention for yourself, in the sense of, so that they think, okay, she's from another country, so that you don't get like bombarded or crowded around if you don't like that. You know what I mean? So, and another tip is to, what do you call it? When you are in a country, when you are traveling solo to a country, preferably, you should, to keep yourself safe, preferably if someone asks you, are you traveling alone, and you don't feel comfortable, it depends on you as a person. Really, it depends on you. If you are a new solo traveler, you can say to that person, oh, my friend is at the hotel. I have traveled with my friend, or I have traveled with my family. My family are waiting at the hotel, or my friend is waiting in another city, or my friend is not well, so she's decided to stay in the hotel. You know, because at the end of the day, it's all about you, forget about that person, because most likely you will not see that person again. So you got to think about yourself, keeping yourself safe in that sense. However, there are situations where you wouldn't mind saying that you're traveling solo, because it's obvious. You know, when it looks so obvious that you're traveling alone, right? As an experienced person for myself. But scenarios such as, I would say, like, usually scenarios such as a taxi driver, if I know I'm not going to see that taxi driver again, I will say to them, my friend is waiting in a hotel, or my friend is waiting in another city, she didn't want to travel here. This is what I usually say. I say I have friends in this country, and that usually works fine. You know what I mean? Yeah, so that's an example. But however, like other situations, I don't mind it, like saying that, you know, it depends on, like, if there's situations where you're feeling unsafe, then you gotta lie. You have to put yourself first, okay? Ensure your safety, okay? If you feel something is not right, okay? And also trust your instincts. That this is another one. You gotta trust your instincts. If you feel like if someone approaches you, and because in most situations it's normal for the locals, or like when you are traveling, like maybe for other travelers to want to get to know you, or maybe they want to travel around with you if they're also traveling alone, or if someone is curious about where you're from, they'll sit and have a chat, okay? So usually if your gut is telling you that you don't feel comfortable in front of this person, stick to your gut. That's my advice. For example, when I was in Cambodia, when I'm in Cambodia, I traveled to a place called Siem Reap, and I visited a mosque. Okay, and then after the mosque, I went to sit in a restaurant. Okay, and then some man in his 50s, I think he was in his 50s. He came to my table while I was waiting for my food, and he ordered something to take away because he was going to go to the mosque anyway. So he had a little chat with me. He's like, oh, so how are you finding the area so far, like you've traveled around here? Questions like that. He was just curious, right? Yeah, so anyway, we had a conversation, and then he said how, because he apparently he's originally from Malaysia, right? He was a Malaysian guy. He seemed really nice, to be honest. To be fair, he seemed really nice, but my gut was telling me something. So anyway, I always stick to my gut as a professional solo traveler. Anyway, so he started saying, oh, can I have your WhatsApp number? Because then if you ever come to Malaysia, you can visit. Like, we have a farm, I have a wife, I have a family, and we have a farm. Which I thought maybe he's just being friendly, I don't know. But naively, I gave him my number. Naively, it was only my WhatsApp. It wasn't, I never give like my actual number, because WhatsApp I can block anyway. You know what I mean? So I thought just for him to leave me alone a little bit, you gotta, you know what I mean? Because I straight away he messaged to see if it was my number. Anyway, so and then he said, like, if you ever come to Malaysia, like, we can show you like the area, the house, blah blah blah. So I said, okay, that's really nice of you. Yeah, at least I took your number, and thank you for the conversation. Okay. And also another thing, this is the other thing. Another thing is, what's funny is, because I used to drive a motorcycle, a moped, sorry, in Cambodia. So anyway, he was saying how he drives a moped in Malaysia before he knew I drove a moped. Because I said, do you drive? He said, yeah, I drive a motorcycle in Malaysia. And then he said, yeah, because I gotta drive around for my wife, because women cannot drive. This is what he said. Women cannot drive a motorcycle. And then in my mind thinking, little do you know that me as a woman, I am driving a moped, right? Yeah. Men who think women can't do certain things. So anyway, obviously we're talking about the safety of that, right? So anyway, cut to the chase. He found out that I was driving a moped, and his face, you should have seen his reaction. That was, that made my day, honestly, because I was thinking in my mind, see, a woman can drive a moped. But anyway, let's get back to the conversation about the top tips of safety, right? So anyway, that can be linked to safety as well. But anyway, after I didn't see him again after that, but then that it's a moment where I kind of felt uncomfortable, if that makes sense. Because I was thinking, oh no, have I put myself in a situation where I'm going to be followed, or you know what I mean? Because it's evening, like 6, 7 p.m. After Maghrib, after sunset prayer, it was dark. So anyway, I think he was just a nice guy in general, but it was just my gut was telling me something. So anyway, because he had messaged the next day to say, hi, how are you? Salam, how are you? And then send me another message the following. And I just thought, you know what, I'm just going to block this number, because I really do not feel comfortable, right? You got to And this is an example of trusting your instinct, okay? So you would know. And if it gets to a point where you really feel unsafe, you can always approach the shopkeeper or approach the local policeman. You know what I mean? Like if you feel, but me as a professional solo traveler, like I just trust my gut and just like try to get out of the situation, which I did. And I'm like, oh yeah, now my food is here. And then he's like, okay, I'll go pray and that. Yeah, so anyway, we left it at that. But he coincidentally came back from the mosque when I was coming out of the restaurant. This is how I knew that something, you know. But anyway, this is an example. Trust your gut feeling, okay? Trust your gut feeling, right? So that's very important. Okay, another tip is your belongings, okay? Another one about your belongings. Now, if you have your belongings, when you have your items, your belongings, always keep it with you at all times, okay? Never leave it unattended. So if you are in a restaurant, take all your bags with you. If you are, I don't know, like wherever, even if you're in a taxi and you have like your backpack and you tell them to stop you at the minimart, take your bag with you, okay? You can't trust anybody, okay? That's my advice to you. So just you have to be aware. You have to make sure that you have your belongings with you at all times, even when you're carrying like your hand luggage and that. Because let me give you an example. I was in the bus station in Malaysia when I was traveling recently, right? And then I went to the mini mart because the bus was like 30 minutes until it departs. So I thought, let me go in the mini mart and get a few bits, okay? So I put my case down and I went to the counter, paid for my items, and I left the mini mart. And just as I was walking, it's only like 1 minute walk, 30 seconds. It's inside the shopping, it's inside the bus station. I went in the mart. So anyway, halfway, I was like, I feel empty. Why does my hand feel empty? Something is missing. My hand luggage. So it is only 30 seconds to walk back to the minimart and get my hand luggage. But believe me not, it seemed like a whole day because my mind was going crazy. My mind was thinking, oh no, what am I going to do? I have my laptop inside. Never mind about anything else. Forget the clothes, but my laptop was inside, okay? I was thinking, what am I going to do if I lose my laptop? Yeah, so anyway, I went back and it was in the same spot. And then I thought, hang on a minute, there are cameras everywhere inside the bus station, inside the minimart. Cameras, no one would dare, and no one would have thought, maybe someone would think, okay, this hand luggage belongs to somebody who's roaming around the minimart, right? I didn't but my mind was going all over the place. So this is an example, like try to please remember all your belongings and all your items, okay? And also, like if you're in a situation, I have many situations, many scenarios. When I was in Thailand, when I traveled from Bangkok to Chiang Mai, which was a 16-hour train ride, I took a sleeper train ride, okay? 16 hours. So I made sure I had my hand luggage, not the important things, just outside where you have like a seat and it turns into a bed. It was amazing, honestly. But anyway, so my personal items like my passport, my phone, my money was all here. I had it like in a waist bag. Yeah, so anyway, when I slept obviously for a few hours, it was a 16-hour journey. And then I had my phone on the side. When I woke up, because people had got off on the station, one of the stations already, when I had woke up, I kind of had a shock because I couldn't find my phone. So I was panicking. I was thinking, what am I going to do about my phone? I have all my emergency contacts. I was just thinking, what am I going to do? All I was thinking is, if I lose my contacts, what am I going to do in emergency situations? You know what I mean? That's all that was running in my mind. Phone is very important. Very, very important. You know, phone is like a baby these days, right? So anyway, I was panicking. I was looking under the bed. I looked all over. I looked inside my waist bag. I looked under the pillow, the side, and I was panicking. And all I was thinking was, while I was sleeping, someone has grabbed it. Someone has grabbed it. Even though I had like the curtain. That's all that was running in my mind, right? So anyway, and then I thought, let me check again. So I checked again, and it was behind, right? It was behind. So yeah, I managed to find it, and the relief. You know, the sense. This is how I felt with the luggage as well. The sense of relief, right? Do you ever feel like you've lost something, and then the sense of relief once you find it? And it just makes you think that life is too short. So you have to think you're not always going to have that item or whatever. Like, you got to make the most of that moment, right, in time, because you can lose it at any time, right? And that's just like a life lesson for everybody. You know, it's a life lesson. You can't take it with you when you go, which is true, right? So anyway, what do you call it? Yeah, so I was relieved, and I was thinking, there I go again, judging, thinking that someone's taken it, but you never know. But you can't trust anybody, okay? So this is another tip. Make sure you have all your belongings with you at all times, right? As they usually announce it, right? Yeah. So that's my top tips, okay? Take care of your belongings. Make sure you book your accommodation for arriving in the afternoon, in the daytime. If you've never been to that country before, try to blend in with the locals. Like, dress appropriately, and like the way you speak as well. Just try to not draw a lot of like unnecessary attention to yourself. What I mean by that is like, try not to look like rich. That's what I mean by that. Like, try not to look like, oh, look, she's come from another, she's gonna get this, she's gonna buy that, she's gonna try not to blend in too much like that, if that makes sense. And another thing is review. Always look at the reviews of the hotel accommodation, and try to what do you call it? You just know your instincts. Okay, you have to know your instincts, like the scenarios I talked about. Okay, know if you think you're in an unsafe situation, you really should speak with the shopkeeper, please, whoever you trust is near. Don't trust strangers, okay? You have to trust like a worker, for example, or please, but even then you have to be still cautious, okay? And one more thing, there is one more thing, okay? There are so many, but one more that I would discuss is, if you are in a restaurant and you order a drink, right? Always keep it with you at all times. My advice, always keep it with you at all times. So what I mean by that, and even if you have your food on the table, like, what I mean by that is, if there's a situation where you need to use the bathroom, for example, okay, and you still have your meal, make sure you finish your meal and then go to the bathroom, because it can take 1 second for someone just to do anything. You can't trust anybody, okay? So that's my advice. Usually I will use the bathroom after I have finished what's on my plate, and I know I don't want to eat more. I know I don't want to drink more. Okay, so please, yes. And yeah, just try, like, always have eyes, like you're having your eyes on your belongings, have your eyes on your food and your drink as well. Okay, even when I order from stores, I always make sure I take it directly from. I try not to leave it, right? Because you turn your head for 1 second, something, God forbid, can happen. Okay, so that's my advice. Anyway, I hope these are like the top tips that I advise you as a solo traveler to do if you're thinking about solo traveling. And yeah, if you have any questions, you can add it in the comments, and I will answer them as soon as I can. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed my video about the top tips about the safety of solo traveling. And I look forward to creating more videos, and I hope you're and I look forward to having more adventures and sharing it with you all. And for now, it's a take care, and see you soon. Have a good week ahead. Have a good day ahead. Yeah, speak to you soon. Goodbye for now.